Hello, Kirsty. Thank you for agreeing to do
Hi,
this interview with me today.
of course.
So, as you've mentioned, you're part of the online community of cottagecore and sustainable fashion on both TikTok and Reddit. You're quite an active member on these two communities.
Yes, I would say so.
Um, so uh, so basically, I would like to ask you about the strawberry dress and the brand Lirika Matoshi.
hmm
And to sum it down, what I specifically want to ask you about is why do you think the strawberry dress has become so popular within the cottagecore community and specifically?
Well, cottagecore in a sense is all about going back to nature, the very soft, I'm not sure, like vibes, I guess, uh, that it gives. And the strawberry dress in this way relates back to the cottagecore in the sense of, the strawberries, the very pastel, airy style of the dress. And aside from that, it's also very size inclusive, so it doesn't matter what size you are because it's custom made. Anyone can get it in their size. So I think
Okay.
that's what really attracted most of the people within the community to it.
Would you say this is why we're seeing so many recreations of the dress online, especially on TikTok, and people making their own versions of it?
I would say so. I think because it got its popularity from TikTok. So I think it costs quite a lot to custom make the dress itself, and it takes a while to ship out.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't as surprised to see so many recreations of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of like it. You feel bad for the original creator of it because that's their pattern, that's their style that is being taken and made without their consent per se.
Do you think this applies more to independent designers, or does the same also apply to big fashion retailers like Chanel? If you recreate them, is it the same thing? Do you think
I
the
th-
independent designers suffer more?
I think independent designers surely suffer more because most of it is their own design, and most of the time they would be creating it themselves, having to alter it based on their individual customers' needs. While for fast fashion like Shein, Forever 21, it's a factory setting, so all they have to do is just send it into the factory and they can recreate as much of it for a much cheaper price as compared to those independent
Okay, thank you.
designers. You're
Um,
welcome.
so I wanted to ask you, how do you think social media, as you mentioned before, it created its success on TikTok? How do you think social media virality really affected Lyrica Matoshi? Do you think it's more bad or good for the brand?
I think there's both positives and negatives for the brand getting that recognition of TikTok because, well, on the positive side, there's more recognition worldwide for the company. So there will be more people ordering the dress and thus leading to like high increase in sales, they can get more product, etc. But the negatives is companies like Shein, Forever 21 stealing their design and recreating it for themselves and like mass producing it without giving any credit whatsoever.
I just wanted to ask you, what do you think is the difference between people making it themselves versus it being available on Shein? Like, do you think do you think they're in the same boat? Because they're both recreating the design in a sense, but like, what is your opinion on this matter?
In terms of people recreating it themselves, like they remake the dress from scratch, I've seen some people on TikTok actually say that they've asked the original designer for like the designs and everything so that they can recreate it. So for those people, I think it's fine because they can't afford it, but they can afford the products to make it. So with their own like blood, sweat, and tears, they get the product that they deserve. But for fast fashion, I feel like it's unfair towards the designer itself because the designer won't get the credit that is due to them, and people will think that it came from that fast fashion company instead of from the designer.
Or it would also be that they're making profit out of it versus people who are just making it are just doing it for the
Yes,
product
there's that too.
itself.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Do you think 2020 was the perfect year for this dress to go viral because of the pandemic and rise of cottagecore? Would you agree?
Um, I think in a sense, yes and no. Yes, because due to the pandemic, everyone was online mostly, and everyone was on TikTok, which is where both the company and the dress like took off. So that's where it got its recognition because everyone was inside, everyone was like on the internet finding out about this dress. But it would have been much prettier and much nicer, I think, in terms of cottagecore style to see it outdoors being used
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of nature and everything.
Oh, to see it around the streets and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And finally, the last question I want to ask you, do you think the brand Lyrica Matoshi, the brand's legacy, will be long lasting because of this viral phenomenon, or will it be negatively affected and deemed as like a one-time wonder kind of situation? What are your opinions on this?
I think, in my perspective, that the brand will have some good recognition going on after this because in the midst of all the darkness of 2020, there was a very pretty, lighthearted dress that everyone fell in love with, that all sizes could be inclusive of, like coming up on the internet and making people's lives feel better, helping the independent creator get money because like they were getting more and more orders for the dress. And yeah, I think it's on a whole a much more positive experience for the brand than a negative one.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing your opinions with us today and agreeing to this interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.